Today is day 24 of my 2 IPAs here, and I'm going to keg them today. Now, about a week ago, I decided that I wanted to enter my Zithos IPA into a contest, so I added some Knox gelatin powder in there. It's my first time ever using these. I read online that some guys use these and it works pretty well. It's pretty cheap, $1.25 at Walmart for 4 packets of it. So I used it to try to clear out my beer as best possible because some prior homebrew contests that I've entered my beers into, I got marked down for clarity. So I just want to try to get them as clear as possible. So I added that in about 7 days ago. Now 2 days ago, I racked my beer into some new carboys, and I've had them chilling down at about 40 degrees for the past 2 days in order to help settle out anything else that may be left in the beer. The reason why I transferred it is because the gelatin was all on the bottom, and I just wanted to get my beer off of that so I can get hopefully a cleaner beer. So I got my 2 kegs here and getting them clean so I can transfer my beer into them. This one over here, that's my sanitizing solution. I just poured that in there. I'm trying something new today, so I'm trying to figure out how this all works. What I did is I have a hose in there that I connected to my CO2 inlet. Down on the bottom of this hose I have a plastic air diffuser that I bought at my local pet store. So basically I wrap the hose around the dip tube in hopes that it's going to stay on the bottom when I have my beer in there. I did the same thing with this one, and it seems to be working pretty good. You don't see the tube on top floating, but it's in there. I don't know if you can see that. Anyways, it's in there. I have it wrapped around the dip tube as well, and it seems to be staying on the bottom. So I'm going to try to carb my beer from the bottom up in hopes that it'll carb a little bit better. So we'll see what happens. So now I'm just going to keg my beer. I have my kegs down here. They've all been cleaned, sanitized, and purged. So they're airtight right now with a bunch of CO2 in there. It's a pretty simple process. I'm just going to auto siphon the beer out of my carboys into the kegs and then put my CO2 on them, close them up, and charge them so they carbonate. That's pretty much it. Pretty simple process. If you have kegs, you should pretty much already know how to do this. But for those of you who are thinking about getting kegs, I would highly recommend it. It's a lot easier than bottling 50 beers. And you can also, once you keg it, you can also then bottle some beers if you want, which is what I'm going to do for some contest and to ship some of my beers to other people. Alright, so the beer's kegged. I have the CO2 lines hooked up to them. Right now I got the PSI at 20, and I'm just checking for leaks. You don't want to have your kegs leaking while you're carbing, because that will just not work out. So what I like to do is I have my spray bottle here with rubbing alcohol. Just go around the rims spray it and look for any kind of bubbles or listen for any kind of hissings that may be coming from your keg. And right now it's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna kick the PSI up a little bit. Try to get it right around 25. Typically you want it in the range of 20 to 30 PSI while you're carboning your beer. One thing I like to do is pull the pin and release some of the gas. This helps get some of the oxygen that may be in there out of the keg, filled up with CO2. Plus, since I have the aerator on it, it'll release more bubbles through the aerator and therefore carb my beer a little bit better. So I'll do that a couple times. I'll kick up my PSI a little bit, and then I will set my temperature to 38-40 degrees. The colder your beer is, the better it's going to carb, the more efficient it's going to carb. The beer, when it's warm, releases CO2, but when it's cold, it'll absorb the CO2 a little bit better. So you want to try to get your beer as cold as you can. Right around 38-40 degrees will do just fine. I believe most breweries actually get their beer down to 29 degrees and they're able to carb within hours instead of days. So the colder the better. I'm going to let these carb for about 4 or 5 days, and then I will check to see how well they got carbs and adjust the settings as needed.